Is the Metaspeed Edge Paris just a 5K to 10K racer? Or is it fit for the marathons as well? What does it feel like to run in the shoe? And what shoe does it most resemble? I am going to answer all of these questions. A little Q&A sesh. And the first question, the one in the title, I'm gonna answer at the end of the video, but not because I'm some sort of crafty, sneaky YouTuber, like a retention ninja. It's because in order to answer whether or not this shoe is a marathon shoe, I have to answer the other questions first. Let's get to it. What does it feel like to run in this shoe? This is the most important question. This is why I watch other shoe reviews. This is why I make shoe reviews. Homie, I'm just here for the jokes. Yeah, no one even likes you, okay? Not even dogs. Listen to me, please. I'm about to take you on a journey and I need you to follow me all the way to the very end of it. In order to articulate how this shoe feels at various paces, we first must talk about the geometry of the shoe and how it makes runners move through space and time. Space-time, if you will. I will not. Now, one of the best ways to understand what it feels like to run in a shoe without actually putting said shoe on your foot is comparison. And the most obvious choice of comparison for this shoe is the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris, which I did not buy because I did not have $500 laying around, and ASICS did not send me these shoes. All right, now the shoe that I'm gonna compare this shoe to, the one that it is most like, I have not heard anyone else on YouTube compare it to yet. Most people have been comparing it to the Vaporfly 2.0 or the Vaporfly 3.0, which we're also going to do, but only after we can compare it to what it feels like the most, which is the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Original. In fact, I posit that the ASICS Metaspeed Edge Paris could have been called the ASICS Metaspeed Sky 2. Okay, now I'm going to assume you know the general specifics about the differences in plate position between the Metaspeed Sky Paris and the Metaspeed Edge Paris. General specifics does not make any sense. And you may not have known this, but the original Metaspeed Sky also has a low plate position. And I would know because I put like 521 miles on this thing. It's the humility for me. Well, my friend, the Metaspeed Edge Paris also has a low plate position. They're both lightweight and they both kind of rocker into this steep drop off, this, what was that movie with Michael Douglas in the 90s where he was having a bad day? Disclosure? No. The Game? No. I guess he's had a few bad days. Falling down. They both make you feel like you're falling down. Now, if this was an upgrade from this, there are three major differences, and I want to talk about them really quickly. Number one, the Flight Foam Blast Plus Turbo. I think I said that right. It's enhanced, it's incredible, it's divine, exquisite, choice. Phenomenal. Okay, number two, the forefoot. I want to talk about the evolution of the forefoot in the Metaspeed Sky series, and I need you to follow me on here because it's like those Saturday morning cartoons, one of those, after these messages we'll be right back, and then like the claymation and there are three people and their heads roll all whatever, and then they pop back up, and I can't be the only midlifer who can't get that commercial out of his head or have ever figured out whose head ended up on which body. Anyway, in the first shoe, the Metaspeed Sky, which I love, I ran a marathon in it. However, I always felt the front bottomed out at exactly 13 miles. I love the shoe. There's just not a lot of front or protection up front. In the Metaspeed Sky Plus, which I'll show a picture of, which I've never run in, they added more foam up in the forefoot. But when they did that, they also raised the plate position to where it is now. In the Metaspeed Edge Paris, which I know is not technically the Metaspeed Sky, they've kept the added foam up front from the Metaspeed Sky Plus, but they've moved the plate back down underneath. So it's similar to this, but now it's got more of the foam in the front, and that's what I mean when the heads. Does that make sense? Or are you confused? I quit watching a long time ago, bro. So what does this mean for the ride? Well, we have to factor in the third difference, which is the plate stiffness. Here is the first one. As you can see, it's made out of Wolverine's claws. Carbon fiber, titanium, adamantium. And the Metaspeed Edge Paris has actually some give, okay? It's a little less rigid or stiff than the first one. Okay, now here comes the most important part of the video. We're finally here and I'm very excited about it. The original Metaspeed Sky produced a very responsive ride, snappy, which is different than Energy Return, which is bouncy. Oh, in fact, do you guys remember those SJD Shoe Matrix videos? And he had responsiveness and then like Energy Return on a different one. Like it's two separate categories. So Metaspeed Sky 1, responsive, snappy. The plate is so stiff, I felt more of the roll through and I got endless energy return because this plate isn't going anywhere. The Metaspeed Edge Paris, energy return. Bouncy, you get more bounce overall, but especially up front. And with that understanding, we can finally talk about what it feels like to run at all the different paces. Because the Flight Foam Blast Plus Turbo Foam is a Goldilocks foam, it's right in the middle, it's not too firm and it's not too soft. The more energy that you put into it, and when I say energy, I mean force, the more energy you get back. Takes energy to make energy. So, and I can't believe I haven't said this yet, this shoe feels great at all paces. It just feels the best at some rather than others. Okay, grab a pen, write some notes. Here we go. Marathon pace, it feels really, 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 really good. Threshold pace, it feels the best. Okay, and why is that? Well, my marathon pace, my threshold pace, my cadence is probably very similar, right? Maybe a little faster with the threshold, but I'm putting more power into the ground on threshold efforts to go across space-time. And 5K, I pick up the pace a little bit more and it feels really, really good. Then I switch over to mile pace and it feels also the best. Why? Well, similarly, my cadences are probably very close from 5K pace going at a 9 or a 9.5, right? My cadence is very similar, except I'm putting more power into the ground on mile pace because I'm booking it, and that's where it feels the best. So that's for me in my stride. Whatever your stride is, wherever you're putting in power, it's gonna feel good at that pace. Okay, now we're gonna talk about what it doesn't feel like to run in this shoe. So comparing it to other shoes like the Endorphin Pro 3 or even the Metaspeed Sky Original as well. The plate, it was so rigid, right? And at marathon pace, which the Endo Pro 3 is great at, you get the speed roll technology and the guide through and you feel like it kind of just locks you in and the shoe runs it for you. You get a whole lot less of that in the Metaspeed Edge Paris. I'm not gonna say that it's non-existent. It's just, it's very mild on the roll through. And look, where most of the protection from the rubber is up front, I feel like the designers of the shoe made it to encourage like mid to 4 foot running, right? There is some protection back here, but I just feel like when I'm running in it, it's not as structured. It doesn't have as much stability to go through and it makes me focus on my form. This isn't a shoe that's gonna run the race for you. We'll be right back. Guys, we need to talk. There have been some seismic shifts on the home front and the career path with me and the wife, so I've decided to create a bunch of cool stickers here and open up the door for memberships. And I'm gonna make some exclusive content. That's the whole deal. I'm gonna do some vlogging. We'll do community stuff, probably more dumb jokes. No hard sell. If you're enjoying the midlife ride, if you just wanna support the fam, there's a join thing or whatever and I'll circle it. And anyway, I do appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, lastly, other shoe comparisons. How does it compare to the Endo Pro 3? For the similarities, there's really only a couple: the low plate position and maybe the overall versatility of the shoe. You could take it for threshold or marathon. The differences couldn't be more different in the ride underfoot, in my opinion. This shoe is more responsive, snappy. Exactly, you're catching on. Now, the Edge Paris does have a little bit of snap, but it's mostly bounce that provides that propulsion. Lastly, I would say that the Endorphin Pro 3 feels best when I'm landing more towards the heel or midfoot to get the full roll through, versus the Edge Paris, I feel like it's more midfoot to forefoot for the landing. Okay, the Nike Vaporfly 2. Now, this is a very interesting comparison. I feel on paper, they may line up, or underfoot, they may feel very similar, but they're slightly different. The ZoomX foam is soft. It's softer than the FlightFoam Blast Plus Turbo, and therefore it makes for a smoother landing, and then it's firmer up front and I get more snappiness and responsiveness. So overall, I think the Vaporfly 2.0 is still a more aggressive, more responsive shoe that I would probably take over the other shoe for the half marathon distance and down. But for me, as a non-elite runner, it's a little too harsh to go 26.2 IMO. Okay, warning, guys, warning. I forgot to mention, consider going half size up. I'm not a half size upper kind of guy. I do it for the New Balance Rebel series. Not a lot of other shoes. I've seen other people wishing that they had sized up half, not the Sky Paris, but for the Edge Paris. I don't know if it's just because it comes up a little steeper or something, but I found like it was 1/80th, just a little too tight. So just beware, buyer beware. So finally, we have arrived to the question in the title. Can we take the Metaspeed Edge Paris the distance, 26.2? Is this a marathon shoe? And the answer is yes-ish, okay? A lot of people do it. Some people have done it. A lot of those some people are like the best of the best at marathoning. And that's exactly who I think this shoe would be good for. Okay, so like I was listening to Kofuzi, he's mentioned it a couple of times that certain marathons like CIM or Grandma's Marathon, they're kind of like marathons, right? Like, and I would say similarly, this is kind of like a marathoner's marathon shoe if you were gonna take it the marathon distance. It's not for everybody, and I don't just mean like, if you're running your first marathon and you're just trying to finish, go get the New Balance SC Elite 4. And then if you're racing one, then consider this one. I've raced one, and I don't know if I would take this 26.2. I mean, like if you've raced like 10 of them, if you're gonna be out there for 2 hours and 20 minutes and you regularly run midfoot to forefoot, because that's just how you run after decades of running, this shoe might be for you. Don't get me wrong. I considered taking it 26.2. In my testing, I did like a 10-mile marathon pace block, and I did okay. But this is what I thought it would feel like if I tried to take it for a marathon. Yeah, Alex Honnold, like the amount of mental focus and dialed in that I would have to be for the full 26.2. If at mile 20, it was just too much, like I'd be okay, I'd survive, but there might be a better shoe for me, I feel like, until I can get to the skilled enough level where I would take this shoe 26.2. And with the Metaspeed Edge Paris as an option, maybe I don't have to become a sub-elite runner to enjoy a very similar ride. Thanks for watching.